Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Jan Bishop, also known as Jan of Kaduna, and here we talk about environmental sustainability and climate action, especially from a Nigerian point of view. In this video, I'm going to be talking about key things that you should know about the Nairobi Declaration. Okay, what's even the Nairobi Declaration? The African Climate Summit happened in Nairobi, Kenya from the 4th to the 6th of September 2023. And this summit brought about African leaders, policymakers, industry leaders, civil organizations, environmental champions all together in Nairobi to talk about the climate crisis and how it affects Africa and what Africa can do to ensure that climate change does not wipe them under. And there were a lot of meetings, there were a lot of speeches, there were a lot of things, but then there was this document that the African leaders put together, and it was presented at the end of the African Climate Summit by the President of Kenya, President William Ruto, and it is titled the Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change. Number one, the declaration stated key things that are already happening, and it was kind of like a warning. For instance, we're reminding the world that, that just 7 years left to be able to fulfill the SDGs 2023 agenda, also reminding the world that, historically, Africa, we are not the ones that contributed a lot to this whole climate wahala that we're in. But now it is what it is, and we are suffering the brunt of this thing, and people are doing as if you don't know. So it was more like, this thing, we didn't contribute plenty, but don't leave us alone. Don't leave us. So now to the second important thing also that this declaration was also about the global north and richer nations not to leave Africa alone. Being that Africa is the most vulnerable continent to the climate crisis, and a lot of African countries are seriously facing negative impacts of climate change, the declaration was telling the world that, see, it's happening, it is bad for us, don't leave us. We are in debt, don't leave us. The climate finance pledges people have made, please fulfill them, don't leave us. So it was more like, remember what you said you were going to help us with. We are your not very rich brothers, so help us so that we are not under the sea. Also in the declaration, they asked that there should be carbon tax on the fossil fuel industry, maritime and the aviation sectors. Okay, that was something else, because they felt that money that we'll be getting from carbon tax will be able to also help finance the things that's going to help Africa combat the climate crisis and also help Africa with climate action. Also on the declaration, another important thing on the declaration was that they said, the world, that we do not have a lot of money, and we're also battling with our development, and it is not fair for us to have to choose between development and climate action, because both of them are very important. So you need to help us to ensure that we can, so you need to help us so that we do not have to choose development over climate action, or vice versa, because it's not going to be favorable for us as a continent. So we need your help. For sure, the declaration had important things that they wanted the global north and big financial institutions to help Africa with. But also, the declaration also had things that the African leaders themselves wanted to implement and they want to do, and things that they had tasked themselves to do. So they talked about improving Africa's economic growth, but at the same time not neglecting the decarbonization efforts that the continent has to undertake, which is very important. Economic growth is very important, but at the same time, decarbonization efforts are also very important. They also talked about improving biodiversity, improving urban infrastructures, encourage climate resilient cities. They also talked about improving urban infrastructures to build up climate resilient cities. They also talked about improving agriculture through climate smart agriculture to ensure that our food security is secured. Then they also asked for debt restructuring and relief, because it's not fair. And even though, yes, they know that there are going to be reforms in the multilateral financial institutions, it's taking longer than usual, and climate change is not waiting for anybody, and it is biting us bad. So we need the money, and we need those reforms, and we need them now. They also said that they wanted the African Climate Summit to be a biennial event and to be convened by the African Union, which is great. And they also wanted the African Union to make climate change the theme of either the year 2025 or 2026. It is okay. The declaration was okay. It had things that already had been on the front burner for a whole lot of environmentalists and environmental organizations, and also African governments that were really big on tackling climate change. But it is all talk and it's all on paper, and just like most of all the other big climate events or conferences that we see, they just come and do all this all show, but we don't really see much after that. So I'm just hoping that this is not the same, because for Africa it's not fair. It's for Africa it's not fair, and it's bad for us, and it's almost like the global north are just not looking at us, and it's almost like the global north are not doing enough to help us. We did not actually saying that we did not contribute much to this thing, just like less than 4%. But it's not time. Climate action does not mean that we should be throwing blames at one another. We're just saying you guys should level up. And at the same time, it's also great that African leaders stated things that they were going to do, so they too need to level up and ensure that they live up to their promises, or they live up to these things that they have stated that they are going to do. So it's more like a promise to the African people, and I hope that they are able to meet up to that. And also, when I was going through the document, there was this thing that also when I was going through the document, I was like, I saw also while I was going through the document, I read while I was going through the document, there was this thing they stated that Africa generates like 40% of the renewable energy resources, but Africa has only gotten about 2% of the $3 trillion investment in the last 10 years. That's poor, because a whole lot of Africans don't have access to energy, and if you do not have equal access to energy, that development is going to be an issue. So we need to be able to tackle energy access, to be able to tackle development properly. Let us see what this declaration is going to hold, because even the African leaders stated that this Nairobi Declaration is going to be their stance. It's going to form part of their stance moving towards COP28 and even future climate events or future environmental related events and all. So let's see what it's going to be like. And thank you very much for watching if you watched up to now, and I hope that I'll be able to make you understand what the Nairobi Declaration is all about. And if you've enjoyed this video, or you feel this video was very helpful to you, please like it. Helps this video, it helps the video reach more people, and it helps, please like, because it helps this video to reach more people that will be interested in this kind of content. And also subscribe, because we want to grow our numbers. We are growing a community of environmental champions, heroes, all that. And also leave your comments in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your thoughts about the Nairobi Declaration. What do you know what it's about? Do you think it's something that the world or African leaders can be able to live up to? Do you think it's something that we can be able to hold them accountable for in the next like 5-10 years or so? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching once again, and remember that you can be the change that you want to see. Jan of Kaduna, signing out.